it's really weird when you make something just for you and like your friends and like are just committed to having fun with it. The opportunities that brings is really strange. Like the day that we shot for Paramount, we're like, what the is going on? Like we have just been playing the entire summer, and Paramount Plus was like, we want to work with you guys.
Guys, welcome to the Votary podcast. I had a old friend join me on the show today, and she's more on the social media end of branded content, but what she's doing goes beyond that. She's doing this thing called 15-second film, where they go up to strangers and ask them to be directors and direct a 15-second film. They're basically going all around New York and just asking random people. And on this episode, we got the behind the scenes of that. I learned more about Becca, who she is as an actress, as an assistant director, learning about how friends come together for these super creative projects and, how to embrace a childlike state of mind and to hear and feel Becca making this so surreal, guys. I think I had a really wonderful time on the show today. I hope you guys take a look. And without further ado, Miss Becca Ford. Hi, Becca. How are you doing today?
Good, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing good. So, Becca, I'd love for you to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about 15-second film.
Okay. Hi guys. I'm Becca. I am the host and assistant director and a producer on 15-second Film, which is a show that me and my best friend started over the summer. And we go up to people all over the place and we ask if they want to direct a 15-second short film. And then we give them a full crew and some actors, and they write and direct their own story, and then we film it. And that's the show. And it's been a great time, and it's been really good to show people that you can make something really awesome or like really silly or very absurd, usually pretty absurd, in 15 seconds. So that's what I
Yeah. And I love the range of creativity in the 15-second film, how it's like you have a full film set, but also I can see at times you guys don't take it super seriously and you guys are having fun and really enjoying yourselves and creating these really cool final products and videos, while empowering just every single day people to have that chance to direct. I think that's also a huge reason why it's so popular. But you mentioned doing this with your friends last summer. But what inspired you guys to do so? What was like the initial blueprint?
Well, Jeb, who directs the show, it was his idea. And we were reached out to by a company called Fallen Media, who produces our show, in New York. And Jeb has the craziest ideas all the time, and he's got a pretty big like social media presence. So he's putting a lot of his ideas on there, and he's a filmmaker and musician. So him and Phoenix and River, who do camera and sound, were looking to move to New York this summer, and they saw me in a rock climbing movie that premiered in Philly. And they knew that I lived in New York, so they reached out and they're like, do you know anywhere that we could live? And I was like, actually, with me, because I needed subletters.
Oh, nice.
They all moved into this apartment, and Jeb had to start the show for Fallen Media, and he's like, do you guys want to work on it? And so we just started working on it. The first episode that we did together, they did one episode in Philly, and then the first one we did together was Bad Day at the Park, and acting on that one. And then we just kind of kept going from there, and people really liked it, and it's been great to get like all of our friends on it. And then especially during the summer, like we would just have these like pretty long shoot days, like wake up in the morning, get all of our gear together, go shoot, back, like talk about it. And it was just like a really like it's a great community to have as friends, and then be able to like make awesome fun shit with your friends at the same time. It's just worked out.
Yeah, and it seems like, I mean, living with those two guys, you're probably in a super creative community and always bouncing off ideas, working together, really building something. You're mentioning these shoot days, right? Where you're waking up super early, getting all the equipment, and actually going out into New York. Did you have like a predetermined guest? Do you guys actually run up to a random person on the street with the full film production equipment? How does that work? How do you get the director of the day?
Most of the time, about like 75% of the time, we are organically getting all of our stuff together and going out and then seeing people who look interesting or like who don't look like they're in too much of a rush and ask.
Yeah.
We go up. We don't film this part. We ask if they want to do the show because it's illegal to like put anybody online
Yeah.
without consent. Most of the time, we get a no. This woman just looked at us and called us. So most of the time, that. But then some of the time, and like the really good times, are people are like so excited to do it. Um, and then we go from there. So the other like 25% of the time, have people who have either like reached out and expressed interest of like wanting to direct on the show. And then that's obviously not organic. Or we just know somebody who would be really good and like have really cool ideas to add. And just like people we can collaborate with, especially on like the editing side of things. We just had somebody on who's like a multimedia artist. And so I think we're going to have our first episode that includes like animation,
Wow.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
And that's super cool. I can kind of relate to that myself. I've done a couple of those. Well, I've done a couple of street interviews where I'd approach random people, but what it would look like in the video is that I came up to random people and talked to them right off the fly. But the
Yeah.
whole process is like you go to them before, you make them feel comfortable, you tell them the whole purpose. And you're right, like a lot more people say no than yes.
Yeah. We were just joking about, we just shot on Sunday and we got really lucky because the first person we asked of the day was like so down and she was so hilarious. She was dancing with her husband in Washington Square Park. As we like went up to ask her, she was like still dancing. So it was just awesome. Um,
She was like dipped over. She's like, yeah, I'll do it.
yeah, no, like literally. Um, but most of the time it's the nose. And so we were like, we got to make an episode of just all of the no's we get and like blur out their face. Um, and so it's gotten me really good at talking to strangers.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. Especially like there's hot spots like Washington Square Park. Haven't been there for a second. And I was definitely reminded yesterday, it is just a gold mine of content creators. Like everybody is trying to shoot some kind of content there. And so like people are going to the park like I'm pretty sure prepared to be asked like, "Hey, will you try this like electrolyte drink?"
Yeah.
Like,
And they're all like, they have their hair and like makeup
yeah,
done, ready for their moment.
I think so. I mean, this woman, I'm like looking at her card. She gave me her card yesterday. Who we shot with yesterday, was like ready to go. Like I don't know how she knew, but she was like, "I've been waiting for this." Like she
The
said,
dancing woman. Is that the one you're talking about?
"Yeah,
Yeah, she was probably dancing for a reason to try and attract a little bit of attention and whatnot.
yeah, it works."
Yeah, I mean, case in point, right?
Yeah.
Now, Becca, the early days of, I mean, we're talking about last summer, right? So it's not all too far back, right? We're saying summer 2025 or 2024?
25.
25. So it's really not that long ago, right? Maybe 4 or 5 months ago. Did you guys have like a blueprint, a production schedule, or were you guys just going like learning as you went and creating as you went?
Yeah, in the beginning, well, that's like the best thing about this too is living with those guys and then being able to just like learn who they were as friends and then as creatives. Like all of them are so creative regardless of the show, and like working on their own projects. Like as am I. So we didn't have much of a structure in the beginning,
Yeah.
and I think we ran into a lot of problems because of that. And then as we kept going, we like really understood, okay, like it's social media, so there is a formula. that well algorithmically, and
Sure.
we wanted to respect that because it's a social media show, but while also like being real. And
Yeah.
I think that's like kind of a gross thing to think about when creating something. Is like, how do I get this to be as liked as possible, or like in this case, like as viewed as possible,
Yeah.
which is like just not very creative anymore. And then you're just kind of doing something for everybody else. So we just were trying to, when we figured out, okay, we need a structure, we're like, how do we balance following the social media structure and then also keeping this like real and exciting and fun for everyone. So we try to be as least structured as possible in order for like the creativity to arise. Um, but then a lot of my job is just keeping everybody on track because we
Yeah.
get a little crazy, but that's what an assistant director does.
I mean, it's cool that everyone's getting a little bit crazy. I mean, maybe not all the time for you, right? Trying to reel them back in, but hopefully it's like this huge haze of creativity and everyone running around with these really cool ideas, and you're being able to like pick apart between those ideas and kind of channel them a little bit more with structure.
Always, always. And it's really been like a language. Like it's been such a great opportunity to learn everybody's language. And especially when you're like creating something on the spot, like you kind of have to learn how everybody talks, and what they mean rather than like what they're actually saying sometimes, so that we can come together. So like it was just so good that the four of us got so close this summer that we were able to like really know what each other is saying, like when we're on set and somebody has an idea. Cause now we kind of have like a flow going. Um, I think that's like one of the best things about being on a creative team is like when you find out, okay, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, even though what we're like literally saying is maybe not the most coherent thing. We know what we're doing. That is one of my favorite feelings ever.
Yeah. Um, it's hard to decipher creativity. It's language in and of itself.
Yeah.
And learning how people are communicating and trying to express themselves and actually being able to create a result or just make them feel heard. That is such a valuable skill set to have, especially working in the arts. And Becca, from what I understand and knowing you for all these years, you originally started off as an actress, right? That was your primary bread and butter. But now I see you're working as an assistant director. I'd love to hear more about how that experience has shaped you as an actress, B, an artist, and maybe C, as a filmmaker or content creator.
Oh, it's been so interesting to realize like, okay, I think this is like kind of what I wanted to do mainly for like a lot. I think it's just like what I wanted to do kind of the whole time and I didn't really know. I love acting and I'm still acting and I'm still studying it and it's so fun for me. But I think being able to be on the other side of things and to have like a little bit more agency is really rewarding and it helps my acting a lot. So I also went through like it's funny how the universe works sometimes because like I went through a really tough winter and spring, and especially after that semester of school, like I was just so burnt out from um theater and like film and just acting in general and all of it that I was like I was actually planning on moving to New Hampshire to work in one of those yurts on the
Yeah.
do you know what I'm talking about?
I do. You would have
Yeah.
found Ken Burns in that area too.
Who?
You know Ken Burns?
Yeah.
Yeah, you would have
Who's
met
that?
him in New Hampshire. He's up there, like in the boonies of New Hampshire.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my plan, but then I don't know, like the show came up and I was like, all right, like I'll do this. This is like a different thing for me. And it just unlocked so much, like being able to assistant direct, being able to act on it sometimes, hosting now. Uh, and it's really shown me like I have a huge passion for that. And I'm going to be directing some music videos this fall, which is like, this is the dream, like mixing like everything I love.
That sounds so fun.
Yeah. So it's been good.
Yeah, and you also have musical talent as well. So it's really cool, and all your experiences and acting and performing definitely gives you makes you understand this assistant directing from all parts, right? Rather than having a director come in who's never acted before, right? You've walked in a lot of these shoes, and now you're going to be directing music videos, which to me sounds super exciting. I don't know what kind of music videos you're going to be directing, but my guess is going to be like indie stuff. Like where are we shooting
Yeah,
towards?
yeah. My boyfriend's band called UB Bloom
Yeah.
is he's releasing an album soon, so we were gonna do 2 songs, and just do, like, more, like, experimental stuff,
Yeah.
um, which will be really good, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. Um, you're talking about hosting, right? You said you're doing AD work, but now hosting. What is this host job that you're going to be doing?
Well, that's basically I'm just the person who, is going up to people in New York and Philly, wherever we're shooting, and asking if they wanna direct, and then just kinda,
Yeah,
like, guiding them through the process. Because a lot of the times it's like, we know what's going on, like, we know the
yeah,
structure, what everyone needs to do, and people are just kind of we really need to, like, help them with, um you gotta have to teach them how to direct sometimes, because a lot of times, like,
definitely.
that, so I just help assist with that as well.
How long does the teaching process take? Because what I see in the videos, it's like, the camera pans in on them and they right away know what to do. Like they're locked
Yeah.
in, they give it 2 seconds of thought, and then y'all are going.
We kinda just we teach as we go. Like, a lot of the time, we'll be like, "Okay, your prompt is" like, the last prompt we just had was, promenade, like a dance.
Mm,
Um, then we'll be like, "What's your story?" Like, you have to create a story that's based off of promenade, and a lot of the times people will get, like they'll it's actually awesome when you ask someone to
yeah,
make they'll go so huge, and a lot of the "Okay, we gotta, like, trim it down, we got 15 seconds."
yeah,
Um It's so great that people do that, and so a lot of the teaching is, like, how do you trim it down, and then how can we tangibly get those shots that you want?
yeah,
Uh, it's always everybody's a little bit more ambitious than, like, what, that's just, like, the age-old thing with, like, filmmaking, I think, is, like, you have so much ambition to make something, and then in reality, it's, like, gotta tie back a little bit, while
right.
still getting, like, that intention. So it's usually just that as we go. Once the person who's directing, like, understands that, then they like, they're kind of on a roll, and we can then they start, like, really.
Yeah, you just got to warm them up, get the juices going, make them. Oh yeah, how do you make them feel confident to direct? Because you being the main shot caller, it can be pretty. Like I'm thinking of myself in that director's chair, having like a whole film crew and being like, "Hey, like I think you should jump into the water." I'm referencing one of your other videos. I'd be
Yeah.
like second guessing myself, like, "Hey, yo, Mike, is this the right decision? Like, what's going on?"
Yeah.
Yeah, like tying back to my point, how do you make them feel confident and empowered to really take control once they've learned the ropes?
I think just assuring them that it's a leadership position, and not everybody has experience in that, nor, like,
Mhm.
are they really comfortable being there. Just assuring them that it's okay to ask for what you want, and everybody knows their roles and is expecting somebody to tell them what to do, and just that's just, like, how a set works. And it wouldn't actually be possible unless there was a director, telling them what to do. So that is, like, the weird thing. I talk about that a lot with, like, people in the industry, like, it's hard, especially assistant directors, like, their whole job is keeping people on track and, like, making sure the schedule's going well and, like, the actors are where they need to be. And a lot of that is, like, telling people what to do, and it's kind of being, like, good cop, bad cop sometimes with the actual director, and but it's just what's required to make the project come to life, is, like, everybody's gotta know their roles and do it well. Um and so I think once they start to understand, like, oh, a director literally does need to tell them, okay, go do that. Okay, now jump in the
Mhm.
wall. Okay, now hug. Then everything just flows smoother, and then they can see that and they keep going.
Yeah, and I one thing I love is that you guys are showing the creation of the video before showing the video in and of itself and kind of at the end. giving the title of the film. So I understand how it's social media friendly, right? Because you're teasing this 15-second result, but while you're teasing it, you're providing a tremendous amount of value of like a quick, like 30 to 40 second, 30 to 40 seconds of content showing what it takes to create something like that. And that's like a microcosm of the entire film industry. And it's tying to what you were saying about, hey, what does, like, what does this director do? Like, he is in the leader, he or she, like, whatever, they're in the leadership position and telling people where to go. And I just wanted to reference, like, I remember I saw a couple of reels and they were telling the sound guy where to go, and it was super cool watching the sound guy just hustle around and follow everyone. And to
Yeah.
like people who aren't really aware of film, like a lot of sound comes in post production as well. And like, how do you capture crisp sound like with with a camera from a distance that far away? So I mean, I love the whole way you guys are creating these videos, Becca.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Now, being an assistant director, how have you taught yourself to coordinate? Or maybe not how you've taught yourself, but how do you coordinate everyone to be where they have to kind of be the one on set providing that master oversight to get people to the places they need to be?
Um, it's just so funny because they're like, we're so close. So a lot of the vocabulary we use has become a little less professional.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of moments of me being like, guys, we got to get up and go. Like it's
Yeah.
time. And, um, but a lot of the time there's a lot of prep that goes on. We shoot every weekend unless, we have a brand deal or like a special guest or something and we need to shoot during the week. But during the week when we have weekend shoots, we are like prepping the whole week, like scouting actors, scouting locations, developing like prompts that would be interesting. Yeah, so it's a lot of prep work, and then day of, it's just making sure like everybody is where they need to be on time. And you know what? I've pulled that card. If I say, okay, we got to meet at 12, really, we're meeting at 12:30, and I'm just making
Yeah.
sure everybody gets there on time because I know
Yeah.
sometimes we're gonna be late. It's just about learning the people you're working with and um, planning ahead. A lot of planning.
Yeah. Um, I'm like referencing with my friends, kind of what you're doing with telling people when to come. Whenever I invite a group of friends over, I always like my little secret is I always make the invite time an hour before I actually expect them to come. Because when they come, it's always an hour later, especially with bigger group settings.
Yeah. And like we've gotten a lot better at that as things have like ramped up. Like cuz the show started as like just the four of us like and Oriana who
Hmm.
is acting every now and then. Um like the five of us really just kind of like running around like taking our time cuz we're on our own schedule and
Yeah.
it was a lot looser but now like things are picking up and there's like companies reaching out to us who want to work with us and some like really cool people too. So we are definitely more punctual and like more
Yeah.
professional just with the way everything is going. But like things happen. I think I've definitely buffered in the time and just the planning that something is going to go wrong. Something goes wrong on like every set. I feel like, um, so just knowing that's going to happen also gives you a little bit more freedom.
What do you like most and least about working with your friends?
Oh my gosh.
To put you on the spot.
Um, I'll start with the least
Sure.
so I could say good things about them because they're really awesome.
Yeah.
I think least is like maybe getting a little loosey goosey with, all right, I need this form from you tomorrow. And then, sorry, I couldn't because I was doing this thing and you like know the thing they're doing because you're close and you've talked about it. But like,
Yeah.
still, it's just, I guess being loose on like expectations of each other can get a little bit annoying because we all know so much about each other's lives. There's like so much empathy there, which is like great.
Yeah.
But in terms of like a professional aspect, uh, it's sometimes hard to like be getting things out as fast as possible because like we know it's just each other. Um, but that's also like one of the best things too is I don't know if someone needs help with something, like we're all going to be there for that person.
Yeah,
Uh, because we know what's going on in their lives. So it's kind of like it's really there's really not a bad part about it. Um, it's mostly just a lot of fun and a level of understanding that I think is rare.
that's great. And I think that ability to confront your friends while still retaining the empathy, it comes because you genuinely care for their best interests. And when your friends see that, which knowing you back, like I know they definitely do, um, that ability to kind of put on those like bigger bands over time with like will
Yeah.
come and be will be a thing of the past too. I mean, what you're saying with brands reaching out to you guys and other cool individuals to work with you,
It's really such like a lucky opportunity because then like the people we can get on the show too, like a lot of the actors we know are people that we've met at like random events that we
yeah.
really clicked with or friends. If we need a PA on set, like,
Mm.
we're asking our close friends to do that. It's just it's always we talk a lot about like the vibe on set is really important, and it's great that we just trust the people that we're bringing on like so much.
Yeah. It's like you don't need to go out of your way to curate a vibe, right? Because the vibe is there. I
Yeah.
was talking to a cinematographer a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about how important that first shot is when it comes to setting a vibe for commercial film. Like if you're showing a client a really nice first shot or you're showing the people you're working with, they guys had it captured. Like you set the vibe pretty good early on. But to
Yeah.
hear that you guys have that before anything else, like Becca, that is super cool.
Yeah, that's like a really cool thing to say though, because it does set the tone of like people's, I guess, like motivation and like their faith in the project. That's cool.
Yeah, exactly. And also hopefully this continues scaling and at some point, from a director, you might not be able to like you might not know everyone who you're bringing on and you're kind of trusting the people who are in your close circle to add their connections in. And if you trust them and they trust those people, it's like a nice little spiral of creating a really cool community to work on a project.
For sure.
Now, one thing you were mentioning earlier is you're saying like this is a really cool opportunity and that it's kind of lucky that it's befallen upon you. Um, I do want to add to that because I don't think the audience knows about your you learning about acting and the amount of work, like amount of effort that you've put in over these years. I was hoping you could talk a little bit about your background as an actress and going to NYU.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, so I started school in a crazy way.
Hmm.
I went to Boston Conservatory at Berkeley for a singular week of my life. Didn't like it.
Okay.
Dropped out. Went to community college for a little bit.
Mhm.
Transferred to Temple University in Philly, where I met like some of the best artists that I know. Um, I have a really strong pull to Philly for some reason.
Yeah.
And, I was studying film there, and a bunch of random. I changed my major like 4 times there, but then eventually I got to NYU and started studying acting. And I've been here for 2 years. I'm going to graduate this December.
Yes.
And yes, and it's been intense. I will say it's been really intense. It's been very. Uh, I've absorbed so much knowledge about the industry and the craft itself and myself inherently. Um, I don't know, the school's really pushed me. The studio concept, like how NYU's drama program, you're split into studios, like kind of like how Hogwarts works, where you're like,
Ooh.
really seen Harry Potter, like Gryffindor and Slytherin and stuff. So you get put into studios like that, and then after a while you can change. But
Do you guys have rivalry between the studios?
no, everybody's really kind, and that's the one thing about NYU that I've loved is like everyone is so interested in
Mhm.
what their peers have learned and sharing that. Everybody's just like really hungry to grow,
Yeah.
which has been so motivating to be around. And it's been so good. It's really helped me become a better actor. I think it's also taught me a lot about burnout and
Mhm.
um the putting too much pressure on yourself is
Yeah.
good sometimes.
I experience burnout pretty often.
Yeah.
And it's because I put way too much, for me, I'm speaking from the reason why I burn out. It's because I put way too much emphasis on my future. And I put so much effort in the present, knowing that what I'm doing right now is not sustainable for the future I want.
Hmm.
And then I burn out, and then it's like, okay, we gotta like take a breath, take a step back, and keep applying. But you're also mentioning, you mentioned, you were burning out a little bit with acting right
Yeah.
before 15-second film came along. What's it like burning out as an actress?
Um, I think it's just I don't know, I feel silly saying this, but it's true. Like your body is your instrument. Like it's true. So I think just with the winter, like what I was going through like pretty bad mental health period. Like I'll be very honest about that. So I wasn't taking care of myself as well as I would have liked to.
Mhm.
Uh, and I was working on a play for studio that was so intense. And I think it was just like a lot on my body. Like when the material you're working on is super heavy, like it does
Yeah.
affect you. And I just think I had to put it down, and like remember what it was like to just like really take care of myself because I think so, especially with acting too, there's like a huge emphasis on like saying yes to every project that comes your way. Uh, and there's like a scarcity mindset a lot of the time because it's so competitive. But sometimes the project you're working on is like not good for you
Yeah.
and not good for your body. And then having to do it for a long time as well is like, it's a good opportunity, but it's just it really, I don't know, tires you out. So I just found that like, because of the material I was working on, the pressure I was feeling in school, I was growing less of a love for theater too. And I was working on a very theater heavy studio. Um, I just was like, I need to take a break and like remember who I am without what it means to be myself without like needing someone to choose me. That's the other thing about acting is like, unless you're creating your own work, you're really relying on someone else to choose you.
Yeah.
It's hard to not take personally. Because so much of it is like connected to yourself.
Yeah, and while they choose you, they're imposing their vision on you.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like I kept getting casted as like girlfriend and like hot girl at the bar. And I'm like, thank you. But like I'm can freak. And what is gonna see that? Yeah, let me be the crazy drug dealer. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and I fully agree with you. Following your intuition, a lot of filmmakers are saying that. At least ones I've talked to, following your body. Your body has this breadth of knowledge that your mind likes to get in the way of, right? Because our mind is saying, "Say yes, say yes, say yes, say yes, say yes," and that scarcity. One thing I've become that one thing that I've been realizing about the yes mentality is it makes you desperate. Um, at least it makes me desperate. And that desperation, it's a tangible feeling that a lot of directors or casting agents they can pick up on. And I've noticed a lot of very successful filmmakers are the ones who are the most intentional with whatever jobs that they're choosing. They're the ones who are screaming exactly what they want from the top of the roofs. And that work comes their way, maybe not right away, but over time. And it's really, really cool looking at and talking to filmmakers with intention.
Yeah, that's I think what I really learned that this summer was being intentional with what I was saying yes to, like what you're saying. What I was making and like what I was adding, especially to group projects. It really makes a world of a difference. And I think in order to be intentional, you have to be with yourself, like for a little bit at least, like really know how to take care of yourself and know what
Yeah.
you like, and what you don't like.
Yeah, it's like know how to listen to your body too, and be able to listen to your body in the moment, and actually have the courage to follow what your body is saying rather than what your mind is saying. Like
For sure.
I'm great at listening to my body, but sometimes in the moment my mind takes over,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like feeling your gut. And regardless of how tense the situation is or how much conflict might come about of following what truly is true inside of you got to follow your gut. And it's really cool, you know, that you're doing that, and that, you know, 15-second film came about as a result of you doing that, probably as a result of many other things too. But I wanted to highlight that. That's a very important topic that I'm pretty passionate about discussing, if you couldn't tell.
I love it too. It's that's what I kind of mentioned it earlier. Like it was a weird universe moment. Like I was in a pretty dark place and just ready to move into a yurt, which
Yeah.
I would have really
You
loved.
would have had a great time in the yurt too, but
I might do that. Like I love the White Mountains, but it was just a really like it was kind of like a gift. Like it was three really good friends that I made with like an awesome project.
Mhm.
And like just a kickstart into looking at art in a different way too. I think that I feel like the first time V1, Michael and Becca V1, we talked about too,
Yeah,
like you kind of have to, in order to make the art that you're like, this is what I do, you gotta have to have other things going on so you don't burn out in that thing. Um and that's really helped me.
definitely. I mean, it's kind of like drawing upon the comedy reference. Bunch of comedians, you know, a lot of what you find with comedians, I'm not saying this is all, but all they do might talk about like airport and TSA and whatnot, or like going to the bar, because they don't have much else to talk about in their stand-up comedy. You need to experience life
Yeah.
for art to mimic life. I mean, that's essential. So if you went back to the art, you'd probably still come out with a bunch of really cool ideas, and that reset is helpful. And you know, hoping that one day you'll be able to go to that yard too, because it's good to get away and it's healthy and very helpful for creative individuals. How have your friendships evolved over time while you guys were working together on this creative project?
Like with each other?
Yeah, yeah. How have those friendships evolved?
Oh man, I love them. They're gonna watch this and be like, Becca, stop. But uh
Shout out Becca's friends.
they just over time, I think we like I was saying earlier, like we just really kind of learned each other's language
Mm,
on set. And that's been so valuable and really unique. Like it's kind of like all I ever wanted was to be able to like work so closely with people on something that I cared about. It's like I think about like my dad like putting me in all these sports growing up, and
mhm,
I didn't really like the sport, but I like loved being on a team. Um and I've just been like searching for that like since. So
definitely.
that's been really valuable. And at the same time, who watching them create as individuals and the way they feel towards their own art and potential projects has just been so good. They just get so excited by life and like
Yeah.
what they could make. It's like a childlike energy, I think, that we all kind of
Oh
bring out
my gosh, nice.
playing. Like, because it's really what it is when you're making stuff with people is like you're playing, like, oh, what if
Yeah.
this could happen? And what if this happened? And like the desk I'm sitting at right now, like we had a whole setup of like a recording studio. I mean, this like pretty non-studio apartment,
Nice.
but
Yeah.
like somebody was always working on something and all the time, and like we're all like inputting on it. And I think that was just really inspiring for me to see, like, and taught me a lot about like being prideful and like what you're saying, intentional about what I'm making and how to have fun with it. That's
Exactly.
the one thing about NYU that I haven't loved is it is not always fun. They don't know always how to have fun with the work. And the
Yeah.
work is literally playing pretend. So it's supposed to be fun. But
I mean, the reference I think about when you're in theater and you're rehearsing for a play, like what is the word play? It's to play and have fun. You know,
yeah,
play. It's in the words play,
yeah.
right? You're playing pretend. And to have fun is such an essential part. I fully believe that. I mean, from my theater classes, day one, that's what my teacher taught me. Shout out Cordy for that, by the way, because I've taken those words to heart.
That's
But
awesome.
also what you're talking about is that childlike state of mind. And that childlike state of mind is super important. And it's so cool that you're like, that's one of the first things you said. Cause that takes away your ego. It takes away your pride. It makes you be a little kid and be like stupid and have fun and try new things and really open yourself up to the world of possibilities that you and a couple of, other people, you're like a bunch of like silly 20-year-olds can come up with and really make a dope ass impact on the world, to the point where you're getting sponsors like Paramount to be like, hey, like work with us. It's so cool watching that.
It's so weird. I'll get like emotional about it because it's like it's really weird when you make something just for you and like your friends and like are just committed to having fun with it. The opportunities that brings is really strange. Like the day that we shot for Paramount, we're like, what the is going on? Like we have just been playing the entire summer
Yeah.
and Paramount Plus was like, we want to work with you guys. And it's just surreal how that happens. And it's just like a reminder, especially going through like so many acting environments and communities and stuff. Like you can't be anyone else, can't try to be anyone else, can't try to make yourself be a certain way or come off in a certain way. Because unless it's like true to you, and being true to you, I think really is just connecting with what it feels like to be a child. Like I know Tim Burton is like one of my favorite directors ever, and he has this quote that's like, "I think we're all just trying to like go back to what it feels like to being a child," and like for him, that's like claymation and all of his films. And I really stand by that.
Yeah. And one other thing, it's like minimizing social anxiety, learning how to fight that battle. And yeah. And, I mean, to like my point, like social anxiety, you guys are going up to random people and asking them if they want to be in this film. And that's a huge thing. Like people seeing these, social norms be broken through. It's really inspiring. And people like, that's why people love those, like pranks online or like asking random girls out, because it's like fighting social anxiety. Like
Yeah,
there's a liberation to that. And to what extent do you and your friends, feel liberated as a result of doing this?
I think so much because it just kind of reminds you that we're all here. Like your point about the subway, we
Yeah.
all are trying to pretend that we don't know that you're sitting like right next to me or like somebody's was in my face, like on
Yeah.
the way. Like we're all trying to pretend that's not happening when it is. And we all woke up this morning and took and like went to work. So like, we're all pretty similar. And I think being able to acknowledge that and like just create more community because of that is one of the best feelings ever. Like just feeling more connected to the people around you, I think is important in like a very deep way. And the people that we've met because of the show too, like that we've just randomly gone up to, have been like so cool. And we've gotten to learn so much about people and their history and like history about like the one we did with Spike Polite, like he is in a punk band in the East Village and has like lived in the East Village for years, and so we got
Wow.
like history on the East Village. And Tanya is a spiritual healer that we got to talk to for a while about like her practice, and
Mhm.
just like learning so much about people just because we're asking if they want to play with us,
Yeah.
and
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
so valuable.
it is. And that has a trickling effect.
Yeah.
Now, circling back, I was, talking about you, you guys are not successful to the point where you're working with brands like Paramount and Samsung. What has that been like? Now you have sponsors for your content.
Yeah, it's been super cool. I think I don't know. It's just been a really cool opportunity. Like there's more protocol obviously with those episodes that you follow because it's like a paid ad. But um yeah, it's still like we're still doing the show. Like it's still
Yeah.
doing, and it doesn't really change much besides like, oh, we got this big blue box for Paramount, or like we use the Samsung phone to shoot on. But yeah, it's really still the show.
Yeah, and finding cool ways to integrate it too, right? Like you filmed the whole thing on the Samsung Z Fold, something like that. But
Yeah.
that was super cool. Like seeing that in motion, and it's like it still feels super organic. You
Yeah.
know, it doesn't feel like anything has changed. Y'all's vision, y'all's goals, you guys playing, like it hasn't impeded your ability to play at the end of the day, right? Yeah, and I love hearing the intricacies of what you guys are doing with social media, because a lot of this podcast is very much in the traditional commercial filmmaking space, with like traditional commercials, branded content, and hearing filmmakers talk about that in that realm. But now understanding that there's these new emerging platforms where creatives can come and share their ideas and have it start off as something as, just a summer project to where you're at right now. I mean, where do you see this going? Have you given it any thought, or are you just living in the moment?
Now we got a lot of ideas. I think for now we're kind of just sticking to social media, and keeping it there. But like, we've had so many awesome films made because of this, and some really absurd, and that's is still great. And so we have a lot of ideas that I'm not sure I can really talk about yet, of like what we're gonna do with that. It's really, at the end of the day, it's like, it's really a big part is the people that we've met because of the show, um, that we're just like really excited to work with. Yeah, I think that's all I can say about
Yeah,
it.
totally fine. And what matters to me right now is just to see how excited you are about what's to come next. Like you're all smiling and like jittery. So I mean that, like you showed me with your body expression how you feel about the future.
Yeah.
That's really cool, Becca. I'd like to wrap up this episode. I was wondering if you had any closing words to kind of people our age, figuring it out, trying to make it in film.
Yeah, you don't need much to make something awesome. And I think it just get some people together if you can. It's always better to work with people, I think. And try to make your idea come to life with what you have. Like, you really don't need anything fancy. And there's always a way to make it work. If you just play and you have faith.
Becca, you're honestly the best. I cannot thank you enough for joining me today, like for a second time, like V2. Michael and Becca, minus Nate. Nate, if you're watching this, we miss you. But I'm seriously wishing, first and foremost, you the best, and I'm also wishing your friends the best. I'm excited to see what's to come.
Thank you so much, Michael. Thanks for having me, Votary Films. I'm like really happy to have done this with you and to be a part of this now. So thank you.
Awesome, Becca. Thank you.